first dragon came to Galway. The second eldest child of Joe and Lucy Moran. He was very close to his siblings, Mary, Michael, Peg, Anne, and Joe. A bond and loyalty that only got stronger over the years, and one that Dad really cherished. As a young boy, Dad loved farming and totally his mechanical skills. Any time that Dad's parents, Grandad Joe and Granny Lisa, went out of the house, they took up to find the washing machine or some other home appliance that could be dismantled. And Dad used the part to build a new version, but always with the keys missing. That skill stayed with Dad, and over the years, many of you here will have seen Dad in action. When he was called out by a neighbour to fix something, he had a tractor, tumble dryer, or fridge. Dad was self-taught engineer and mechanic, and was always willing to lend a helping hand. After school, Dad got a job as a milkman, doing milk run, covering Milltown with Conley, Gilmore, all that area up to Clonmel. He started off with a single tray of cans, and given his efficiency and determination, he ended up with a double decker. He was lifting cans weighing over 50 kg from his ground up to the top deck. It was on this route when Dad was 21 that he first set eyes on a beautiful young lady in Moran, Teresa Malloy, my mom. When Dad was on the milk run, he was famed for leaving the truck rolling as he jumped in and out doing the drops it collected. But when he went by a certain house, Mum's house, the milk truck was parked up. And he did his best to win Mum over. He left cards on the milk can for her, and he even turned up one day with a toaster for Lady Malloy, his future mother-in-law. As Dad's efforts began to pay off, he progressed from still the chance of Mum while he was working to days out of Galway. On one of their first dates, Dad took him up to Salt Hill. It was a hot summer's day. And despite not being able to swim, he thought he'd impress her by going out into the sea. He had a rubber ring that he'd taken from a car tire, and he put it around his waist as a flotation device. As he waded out into the water, gravity took hold and he toppled over and leaned upside down with his feet in the air. It was not quite the impression he was trying to make, but he survived and got another detail. After 3 years dating, Mum and Dad got engaged. Dad was late for everything his whole life, and he ended up being late for the wedding. Mum arrived at the church to find him with no groom and had to do 3 laps of Fair Square before he arrived. When we used to say that Dad had been late for his own funeral, it turned out we weren't joking. After the wedding, Mum and Dad built their first home in Shopping, Vermont, a place where they set down their forever roots, and started a population explosion. Mum and Dad had 11 children, and incredibly at one point they had 8 kids on the route. Joe, Sean, Stephen, Connie, and Dee, John, Priya, and Max. After a short 7-year break, the next batch arrived. Brian, me, and Kevin, a baby son. Dad was a family man and a farmer. When Mum and Dad first moved to Shopping, Dad bought a small field that he farmed beside our home, and Grandad Joe gifted him 1 heifer. This coupled, he continued to grow over the next 50 years. Through unbelievable hard work, grit, and determination, Dad grew his farm from that 1 field to over 120 acres, all of which he reclaimed by hand himself. And he farmed a herd of over 100 cattle. Over the years, as you can imagine, Dad got himself in some dangerous situations with farming machinery and foals. Dad was fearless and as strong as an ox. We have tales of Dad starting himself from under an overturned quad or tractor like something from Mission Impossible. And after being encountered with those mad bulls, all those days that the bulls came off worse. On top of running the farm, Dad worked with John Madden as a cattle contractor, where he worked for almost 30 years. Now my brother Joe works with Madden's, carrying on Dad's legacy. After leaving Madden's, Dad took a job with Patsy Ray, working full-time on running his own farm. Dad is an incredibly hard Over the last few days, we've had friends who work with Dad reach out, and each of them remarked on how hard-working he was. Growing up, I never remember taking a day off. He was up before dawn every morning, and most days he worked late into the night. Dad instilled that work ethic in me and all of my siblings. Kevin, the youngest in the family, spent every summer with a young boy farming with Dad. You would never see one without the other. Kevin perched by his side on the tractor. That developed Kevin's love of farming, and after school, Kevin took over Dad's family farm in Moran, growing it into a very successful operation. Dad loved helping Kevin on the farm, and this is where he spent much of his later years, alongside his brothers Michael and Joe. So everything goes full circle. Dad was proud of us all, but he was hugely proud of Kevin. Kevin won FED Farmer of the Year in 2016, and I will never forget seeing Dad bursting in cries having picked up that award. Dad was a brilliant father and grandfather. He adored all of his grandchildren, somehow managing to make time for all 13 of them. He spent hours sitting with them, just chatting, or taking them on the tractor with them. Nathan and Harry, his grandsons, described Dad as their best friend, which I think just shows how pure Dad was. Dad loved giving all his grandsons advice on all things about life, in particular about how to manage or avoid difficult women. Dad took pleasure from the little things in life, spending time with his family, going for a stroll across the fields, going on his rowing machine every night after work, which could have been midnight, climbing Boat Patrick, which he did every week Sunday for 57 years without fail. He loved watching GAA, and we even lost a few archers over the years, and Dad would be jumping into the air and excitement during Hallway versus Mayo Showdown. Dad loved history and geography, and as a child, whenever we go to drive anywhere, Dad would quiz me on the names of mountains and rivers and years of Facebook battles. Later in life, Dad tried to slow down somewhat. He even became fond of going for a cappuccino and taking us on holiday. For my sister Trina's 40th birthday, Mum and Dad joined me and my sister for the long weekend in Nice, and we had a great time. On Saturday afternoon, we went for lunch at a beachside restaurant, and as we sat in the sunshine, me and my sisters got carried away and kept ordering more wine. Dad was about a pioneer his whole life, sat there with us for the whole afternoon and early into the evening, enjoying the chats and laughter. But when the bill arrived, Dad nearly choked. He was clearly worried that we were losing the run of ourselves in south of France, and as he said, spending our hard-earned money. So the next morning, we got up to find his dad went out to the supermarket. He bought some bread, buns, tea bags, and sugar. He was taking control of the situation, and we made a very simple Sunday. He wasn't letting us forget our roots. Dad was an extremely decent and principled man, defined by the values he lived by. He was kind, always had a warm smile for everyone. He was hard-working, honest, determined, resilient, a man full of integrity. He was a gentleman, our protector, and the bravest person I've ever known. There are a couple of lessons we can learn from that. Where there's a will, there's a way. When Dad was in his early 20s, his sister Peg joined the nuns and was training in a convent with them. One Saturday, Dad, together with his brothers Michael and Joe and his mum Rita, decided they'd travel to Wicklow to visit Peg. They hit off from Carnstrand, with Dad driving the car before Landia. Around Castle Hackett, to give you a sense of just how far they can travel, that's halfway between Carnstrand and June. They hit a branch on the road. The branch caught the clutch, damaging it, and meaning that if the car stalled, it wouldn't go back into gear. And that may have caused anyone else to change their plans and go back home, but not Dad. He wasn't going to let the damaged clutch get in their way of seeing Peg. So every time the car stalled to get it going again, Joe, Michael and Dad would jump out, give it a push, and then jump back in when it started to move. They did that incredibly all the way to Wicklow and back. crying that he shouldn't drive, and you can imagine how that went down. Joe, my brother, had to hide the keys of the car and tractor so that we could all go about our daily lives with peace of mind. But Dad, being Dad, got up in the morning, went down to the farmyard, hot wired the tractor and took off. And he didn't even really have to think about it because that was part of the course for him. That same tractor he bought a brand new in 2009. And the best day of his life wasn't buying the tractor as would be happening for a lot of people, but it was the day it broke down, as it gave him a reason to pull it apart. The second and most important lesson that we take from Dad is the importance of family. Family was everything to Dad. He had close bonds with his siblings, and they were always there for each other, and that is something we have all learned from. We never doubted that we were Dad's entire world. One story that shows this, Hugo, my husband, asked Dad permission to propose to me back in 2017. Now, Dad's a man of few words, so Hugo was expecting it to be a short yes, but it was not easy. Dad took Hugo on a long drive and told him that marriage is not easy, you need to work in it and not give up. And he made Hugo promise to look after me. That was Dad, always making us feel safe and protected, always committed, and not afraid to keep his son-in-law on his toes. I got a text yesterday from a neighbour that I think speaks volumes, so I'd like to share it. Your dad was a great man. Maybe he did not move in the circles he live in today, but I can assure you, you will not look across your destiny as someone that has worked harder, and his achievements through his family are testimony to what himself and your mother did. Dad's one wish was to spend his final years in his own home here in Shawkey. Thanks to Mum and my siblings, that was made possible. There are a few very special people who made sure that Dad was cared for and loved. And I'd like to say a big thank you to my sister Trina, my brother Joe, his wife Irene and their kids, Joseph, Gary, Nathan and Chloe. What you have done for Dad over the last few years and the sacrifices you have made to look after him is truly incredible and is a testament to the love and respect that you have for him. Even in the dark moments of his illness, your care and presence gave him comfort, peace and even laughter. And we are all so grateful. Dad, we are broken to say goodbye. This world has lost a rare treasure. We are incredibly lucky to have had you as our dad, our little man and our best friend. I promise we will look after your queen, our mum. We will miss you and will treasure the memories you have given us and will hold you in our hearts forever. To end, I'd like to quote a passage from one of Dad's favourite songs. Goodbye, my old friend.